Good afternoon. This is Judge Alyssa Perez presiding over the 210 District Court criminal docket for May 26, 2022. All matters being heard today are being heard in accordance with all emergency orders and directives regarding COVID-19. In addition to that, we are streaming all matters live via YouTube for public viewing. I'll go ahead and call it Mr. Marufo, calling cause number 2019 0D02915, State of Texas versus Michael Navarro. May I have announcement, please?
Robert King for the State of Texas.
Monique Velarde for Mr. Navarro. Defense is ready, Your Honor.
And we were not scheduled, but we discussed off the record the potential for a state's motion for continuance. I did receive it, Ms. Velarde. Have you had enough time to look at it?
I did, Your Honor. Thank you so much.
Okay, and so we'll go ahead as the state has requested a hearing and it's kind of just fresh on everybody's mind. Ms. King, you may proceed on your motion.
Thank you, Your Honor. So the basis for the state's second motion for continuance entails three things. During pretrial with the state and the complaining witness on May 11th, I believe, the complaining witness disclosed that the cell phone that she used to capture the photographs of the injuries that are time-stamped or location stamped to be outside El Paso, Texas. Actually, she still has that cell phone. And allegedly that cell phone was the screen was broken by the defendant, according to her. And so I have asked the complaining witness to bring that cell phone in. She does have an appointment at 2:00 to meet with me today to turn in and have the case agent present as well to turn in that cell phone. The photographs, I will be requesting a photo. I apologize, a cell phone data extraction. She did use GPS navigation during the incident to go from the defendant's house to where she resides, which is in Juarez, Mexico. So that would indicate kind of helps both parties to pinpoint where was the incident taking place in Mexico or did it take place in El Paso County? The second thing that was also disclosed was the complaining witness kept a diary after a protective order hearing was done in this case. And in that diary, she indicates times and dates of the incidents that has occurred. I have not seen this diary. I was not aware of this diary until I met with her on May 11th. She will also be bringing those. I have asked her to bring it in and for the case agent to take it in evidence. Also, she did disclose that there was some, when she was in the relationship with the defendant, that there is some doctor appointments that were made. She was assisting with just regarding mental health. And I have also sent an email. I will be filing a notice of Brady as well, disclosing the information of the doctor. They are two different physicians and they are located in Mexico that the defendant was visiting, according to her. So.
Okay. So you met with the complainant, per your motion, you met with the complainant on May 11th. So it's been about 2 weeks since we've known about this, right?
Yes, Your Honor. I did file the notice of Brady and I've been coordinating with the case agent. The case agent originally on this case no longer works with El Paso or the sheriff's office. Mm-hmm. So we had to get in touch with a different case agent that's now assigned. And her being in Mexico, there's this coordination back and forth.
Sure. Ms. Velarde, what's your position, I guess, not just on the continuance, but also with respect to the substantive basis, meaning the cell phone, the photos, the extraction? Is it your position that defense also needs that information, or is there going to be an objection? I mean, I'm having some issues, Ms. King, because you're talking about a diary, something we've never heard of. I don't want to speculate or I don't know, but I got to think about a diary. How are we relying on that? How would it even be admissible? How are we looking at whether the entries are, how do we verify? I don't even know that a diary comes in. And so why would I grant a continuance based on that? you haven't even seen it. And then with respect to the phone, I guess that's where I want to know, Ms. Velarde, are you thinking, for example, if we go through this extraction, get data, things like that, there could be potentially exculpatory evidence for your client? Because I can see that. A diary, I'm not as concerned about, but with respect to a phone dump, again, initially my thought is too late, right? It's been too long. This case is a 2019 case and we're barely finding out about it. The evidence is what it is. If you have photos, things of that nature, we're specially set. But if we're going to delve that deeply into the cell phone, if there's something that, helps your client out, then maybe that's necessary. I don't know. What is your?
I agree, Your Honor, with regards to the diary, especially I'm hearing, and I'm not sure if I'm hearing it correctly, Ms. King, that happened after that protective order hearing, which means this diary wasn't even kept at the same time as the alleged incident. So that's my concern, because my client can come up with the diary tomorrow and say,
Right.
This is what I remember. So
there's no way to authenticate it. Okay.
Right. So that, now that I hear that, I'm not as concerned. Well, of course I'm concerned, but the diary to me isn't the huge issue. The phone, however, there is one of the big issues that we do have here is the location of these alleged events. Did they happen here? Did they happen in Mexico? And if there is, my hearing what I'm hearing about the phone, if there is a way to show that that phone may have been in Mexico at the time she's making these allegations, then that certainly is something that would be exculpatory and absolutely necessary in my case. Mm-hmm. My huge issue really is we're just hearing it. I know I haven't been on the case that long. Technically, yes, I'm thinking of COVID. Taking COVID out, it hasn't been that long, but with COVID and everything, it has always been set for trial. So I'm not sure where, why the complaining witness just came up with the phone now. Mm-hmm. That's not for me to kind of speculate, but that would be my concern as defense, that if there is the chance that GPS shows that she was not where she claims to be at the time that this incident occurred, because that's a lot of what we're looking at with the pictures and her timestamp. They're in Juarez, they're not here for this allegations. So that's kind of where we stand on this, especially with regards to the phone. The doctor's appointments, I asked my client, I'm not as worried about those. Those were in regards to sleepless nights and getting prescriptions for insomnia.
Ms. King, going back then, what are you anticipating? Well, let me just ask it. So Ms. Velarde, is your client's aware of all the developments, right? Everything that's kind
of. We just talked about it.
Okay. So are you opposed? Is he opposed to a continuance?
Yes, he is. And again, as our defendants go, I don't think all defendants really understand the importance of some of this evidence, but because there is another case connected to this, which is an employment case that is waiting for the outcome of this hearing, he is opposed. He wants me to oppose it. Mm-hmm. At this point, what I'm doing more is leaving it to the court's discretion. I am saying that I think that information could be helpful for my case. It is exculpatory, possibly exculpatory. And so I'm kind of leaving it at that, but I cannot agree to it based on what
sure. For sure you can't. And hearing that your client is opposed to it, he understands that, with potential. Let me ask, Ms. King, how long is it going to take for you to dump that phone?
Your Honor, the phone I spoke to the officer who usually does the phone extractions. He said by the end of tomorrow. They don't take that long. And I did let the complaining witness does know her passcode to the phone, because that's usually one of the issues.
Barriers, right?
And I also did want to mention there is also on portal right now, there are photos of text messages between the defendant and the complaining witness. So that will also be extracted out of that cell phone. So there's the photos and text messages, and
Okay. With that kind of turnaround, I mean, we're not talking about a huge delay. What I would say then is I'm going to deny the state's motion for continuance. What I will put you all both on notice, though, is, I mean, that's going to put Ms. Velarde kind of, I mean, if it's a huge dump, then she is going to be at a disadvantage. So I will entertain any request for continuance from the defense based on the new information. And Ms. Velarde, I am not overstepping the potential for you to object. I mean, whether you review or don't review that information from the cell phone diary, I will ask, well, considering the late nature of these disclosures, I mean, they're not in compliance with the court scheduling order, not at all. So they're not really in. So if the state is going to be asking to bring them in, if Ms. Velarde needs time to review things, and I'm going to do that. Because of the late nature, and that's just talking about disclosure to opposing counsel. That's not talking about it, admissions, exhibits, things of that nature. But if it helps you all come to some kind of resolution, great. Unfortunately, what I think is that it doesn't give your client the ability to say, well, I'm not flying in, right?
I guess at that point, that's where my concern is now. Tomorrow is the last day for him to be able to reschedule that plane ticket. My question, Judge, would be if, and again, big ol' if this were to be continued, do you know when the next possible setting would be?
It might be a minute, because I'm looking at least to the end of probably mid-August. From there, that's where I can start looking. So, but I'm not going to continue it. And let me tell you why, because if the phone dump, I've got to think, Ms. King, if the phone dump reveals that the incident did not occur in El Paso County, Texas, we don't have a case, right?
Correct.
Okay. So maybe it will be less difficult for your client to take the inability to cancel his flight when he gets a dismissal. And if not, there's still the issue of the evidence being admitted, right?
Right.
Because if it doesn't say either way, who knows if it comes in? Okay. So if you all find something out in the next whatever 12, 24, whatever hours, just let us know via email as you have this. I get it. It's very fluid. So I'll make sure staff is aware if I'm not around that we address anything that needs to be addressed. Okay. So for now, motion for continuance is denied. Any other motions that require a hearing, someone immediately just send them on over. Other than that, is there anything else?
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Quick question, Judge, if I can. I haven't had a trial in your court yet, and this is my first trial since COVID. I'm so excited. But how do your panels work? Do we get the jury information ahead of time?
So we will be working with multiple panels. What I mean by that, at the same time. So I do not have the panel sheets yet. I will get them to you as soon as I can. Hopefully by Tuesday, but more likely Wednesday. It will only be one panel of 60 unless the big panel gets canceled. If the big panel gets canceled, it's still not big like we used to do big. It's just 100. But I don't see any reason why we shouldn't be able to get a jury even with 60 people.
Nah, 60, I don't see any.
We should be okay. And it'll be in the courtroom again, unless that big panel cancels, then I'll try and nab that one just so we're covered. And if we do, that will be in Commissioner's Court. But
Perfect.
Don't hold me to that.
No
Other than that, just keep me posted. Keep us posted if anything